Clued Up, it's about developing a website for children and young people, with children and young people, and the idea is to provide a safe, secure website where they can access information, advice and raise issues in relation to their own self-wellbeing, also about what's going on in Hull for them. So the idea was to design something that we could all work together on, where we could host all that information in one place and bring the young people and children together to access that information. We've consulted with children and young people all the way through the project in developing not only the look, style and feel, but also around its future plans and how we're going to develop programmes. But most importantly, we've used young people as largely consultation groups around the content. So for instance, we've just done a large piece in relation to Clued Up on alcohol, around binge drinking and the misuse of alcohol, the misuse of substance. And we've used youth groups to actually test the information, test the look, test the statistics that have come out, not actually drinking the beer, but testing the statistics that have come out to see if it works for them, that information. So as opposed to the professionals just thinking the information is right, we actually test it with the young people before it goes live onto the website itself.
The images on both of the sites are different, and the information, the context of the information is different on each of the sites for the target audience that it's aimed at.
Patrick, could you explain how you've gone about engaging with young people and how you've got them to actually start using Clued Up in Hull, please?
Well, at the moment what we're doing is we've adopted radio waves, which is a social networking idea, and what we're doing is getting professionals like youth leaders, teachers, librarians, anybody who works with young people, to create groups around a social networking site which Radio Waves is, which will be embedded in Clued Up. And what will happen is the youngsters themselves will be able to add their own information, gather information themselves from other sources around, and be able to add themselves to Bebo, Facebook, link in with that.
From the onset, the idea around Clued Up was to engage children and young people using fashionable multimedia sites and programs that young people use. Whether it's their iPod, their mobile phone, their computer. Research told us that young people socialise and network through these avenues, so to us it made sense that we got something out there for young people. The popularity of the site has come down to the marketing and advertising of its own brand, and this is a brand that young people designed with the designers. It was their concepts around how the images would look, how the pegs would look on the site, and also how the site was built in itself, which made sense to them, as opposed to it just fitting around the outcomes and feelings of the council. So that way we knew we were listening to what the young people were saying to us, and the consultancy groups with young people ranged from the ages of 7 onwards, and a mixture of backgrounds within that. So we were trying to hit the multicultural ethnic groups that is made up through Hull. So it was very, very important that we engage in that process. Popularity-wise, it peaks in the summer. It really is targeted in the summer because all the events and information citywide are loaded into the back end of Clued Up. So when young people are searching for things to do and places to go, they know it's there, as opposed to 100 odd different websites around town which confuse the whole process. So Clued Up is leading on that large campaign, incorporating all the radio stations, incorporating all the material, incorporating all the coordination processes to actually make it a central single point signpost for young people and children.
The interesting thing, Debbie, you mentioned there is obviously that the Clued Up in Hull site and the sort of strategy behind it was built primarily around the needs of the youth within Hull.
Yeah.
But what benefits does Clued Up in Hull potentially bring to the council?
I think to the council as a whole, it's a way of advertising how well it is doing for children and young people, and for parents and carers and families. It's a way that the council can communicate all its strategy and plans in an arena to young people, in language to young people, so they understand what the council's trying to achieve on their behalf and with them. For instance, there's new ventures going on in Hull around the new My Place activity application for a youth centre for young people. Clued Up has completed surveys such as Play Builder and Play Day to look at what the play facilities are in Hull. So the council is listening to what the young people say, and through Clued Up is able to offer answers to that information to them. So it's a very important tool to be able to communicate in this way.
So, just like to ask the team, how do you see Clued Up in Hull developing in the future? And also, what advice would you give to other councils thinking of creating youth websites?
I think Clued Up in the future will grow and grow. It's a site that's already developing. We've had a large business case approved where we're making the site more interactive, so it'll include some games for repeat visits to the site. It'll also be a vessel, as Patrick mentioned, where we can upload the radio wave stations, so young people will be able to demonstrate and show their information to us, and which we can use with other groups, such as adult groups around town, to say what is happening for youth in Hull. What advice would I give to other local authorities would be to research very carefully with young people, and to look at other youth sites such as Clued Up, to look at the pitfalls in first initiating such a project such as this, but building the project around the outcomes for children, linking the information to the services that are available, has been the greatest asset from Clued Up's point of view. When we first ventured into making the website and going through the consultation with young people, we didn't know a great deal at that stage. We were quite green in what we were doing, but we visited some other councils who gave us some advice who were further ahead, and one of the things that they did say to us was look about how you resource this sort of venture. Hull City Council has invested in the content management service team and provided the support around this venture, but for any local authorities thinking about doing a youth site such as this, you need to think about all the applications and how you're going to support those applications, such as radio waves, which brings hundreds of reporters in young people and hundreds of producers. You have to consider about how that information is uploaded, the content of that information, and whether it obviously meets quality standards and good welfare standards as in protection for children. You have to think about the staffing process in relation to the amount of activities and events that come through the door. In the summer we had over 500 in one day to upload onto the website. That's an awful lot of information to get on within a peak period for young people, but that doesn't stop because you have all the repeated information that also needs to be added. So resourcing it through the staff is very important. What we felt in Hull was extremely important was actually getting young staff involved in Clued Up. Young people who had just left school, who weren't in employment, who were on apprenticeships. We've encouraged that, and we're lucky to have secured 3 young apprentices in the team who are looking at securing a future with the council and obviously contributing to the project as a whole.
And unfortunately they can't be here today because someone's raining.
Yeah.